I'm Pat Benedict, your worship associate today. Whether you've been a member here for years or you're visiting for the first time, we bid you welcome. We invite you to embark on a journey of spirit and growth. Welcome to this day. Our opening words are by Reverend Scott Taylor, "The door swung wide." As so much closed, we were opened. Normal was taken, but it was also turned inside out. Very little is inevitable. Most of it is a choice. This is what we have learned. So now the question comes, do we really want to go back? We can weave a world, friends, the straw can be spun into gold. The door has swung wide with possibility trying to pull us through. And what of today? Might it be our first step? Now we'll take a moment for our stone ritual. I place a stone for our joys. One for our sorrows. And one for our intentions for the coming week.
This morning's Story for All Ages is a work of historical fiction, by which I mean that it is possible that something remotely like this once happened in my family. Once upon a time, in a 6th grade classroom, 2 children had a problem. Bobby said something that Elise thought was mean. She thought he was a jerk. Now, I don't know what was happening before all this came to pass. I don't know what Bobby said. I do know what Elise did next. Before I tell you what Elise did, let me ask you, what do you think she did? What would you do if someone said something mean to you? I bet there are lots of ideas. Here's what Elise did next. She punched Bobby. I don't know what happened to Bobby after that. I do know what happened to Elise. Her mother found her sitting in the principal's office. When asked what had happened, Elise explained, "Bobby was mean, so I had to punch him." Note the wording, she had to punch him. The principal reminded Elise and her mom that hitting was not okay in school. She said that there would need to be consequences. Was it detention or suspension? I'm not sure. The principal also said that there was another possibility. Elise's mom could take Elise to talk to someone about why hitting was a problem and what some other choices might be. A therapist. Elise and her mom chose this option. After Elise had gone to the therapist about 6 times, her mom asked her if she had learned anything. Not much, said Elise, just that when Bobby says something mean, I can think before I punch him. Not much, thought Elise's mom. Not much. If only everyone knew that after something happens, we can think before we respond. All our lives we find ourselves in moments when the next thing is not a sure thing. All our lives we make choices about how we will feel and what we will do. In that moment of thought, maybe Elise could have chosen to walk away. Maybe she could have chosen to say, Bobby, I don't like when you say mean things. I'm sure you have other ideas. There were so many possibilities. Let's suppose Elise had chosen to say, Bobby, I don't like it when you say mean things. Then it would be Bobby's turn. And what would he choose? Again, so many options, right? He could have been even more mean. He could have said he was sorry. He could have walked away. There would have been so many possibilities. Here's the thing. Even if Elise had made a helpful and healthy choice, she could not be sure of what Bobby would do. Elise couldn't make Bobby do anything. All she could do was make a choice. Hopefully a good choice. Maybe a choice that at least made it possible for Bobby to make a good choice too. Every moment gives us possibilities. Usually we pretty much figure it out really quickly. We know what we'll do next. It hardly seems like we're thinking at all. Our brains are really, really fast that way. But we need to remember that when something happens, there is nothing that we have to do. There are many things we might do. Here's my hope. In each moment, we make choices that make the next moment better, and the moment after that, and the one after that. I hope my choices and your choices will help stories have more happy and healthy endings. We'll see. I invite you to a time of meditation and reflection. Breathe. Breathe slowly. Breathe deeply. Breathe slowly and deeply and relax. Relax your body. Relax your mind. Relax your body, mind, and spirit. Breathe. Be here. Be in this moment. Be here in this moment. Be here in this moment and open your heart. Open your heart with compassion to those among us who carry burdens this morning. Open your heart with love for the wonders of the world, with opportunities to learn and to grow. Open your heart with gratitude for the blessings that abound. Know that you have a choice to open your heart to life or to close it. To open your heart to life's possibilities or to reject them. Know that you have a choice. Open your heart. Know what is possible. Open your heart. There are so many ways a moment can unfold. When I realized that I wanted to talk to you today about the amazing number of possibilities that reside in a moment, I knew I would need to tell you about the short play, Sure Thing by David Ives. I stumbled upon the play at an art event about 25 years ago. It fascinated me, and I found myself thinking about it again and again. But later I couldn't remember the name or the playwright or the group that performed it. All I knew was that it was inspired by the music of Philip Glass, a contemporary American composer known for his minimalistic and repeating style of music. A few years later, I was at a Unitarian Universalist summer camp. The staff did a talent show and they performed the skit. I was delighted. This time, with a little more information and a more advanced internet, I was able to find the skit online. There are now lots of versions of this short skit online. It's about 10 minutes, give or take, depending on the version. Some of you may have had a chance to check out the links that I put to 2 versions that are in the newsletter, The Dome Light. It's a simple and minimalistic skit about 2 people who meet in a coffee shop and all the various ways their conversation could go. Just to give you a flavor, here's a little from the beginning. As the scene opens, Bill walks into a coffee shop and sees Betty sitting at a table at which there's an empty chair. "Excuse me," he says, "is this chair taken?" "Yes, it is." "Oh, sorry." "Sure thing." At this point, a bell rings and the scene resets. "Excuse me, is this chair taken?" "No, but I'm expecting someone any minute." "Oh, thanks anyway." "Sure thing." A bell. "Is this seat taken?" "No, it's not." "Would you mind if I sit here?" "Yes, I would." Oh. Bell. "Is this chair taken?" "No, it's not." "Would you mind if I sit here?" "No, go ahead." Once Bill is seated at the table, the pattern continues with conversation inching forward, at times popping back a few lines to give us a hint, just a glimpse of the many ways that this simple interaction could have unfolded. They discuss the book Betty is reading, where Bill went to school, and their opinions on Woody Allen films. Just a simple interaction. So many ways it could take. For me, the skit is a dramatic reminder of the great variety of ways that a moment, any moment, can unfold. So often we move through our lives with the energy of a habit or a custom or the way it's always been done. We can see only one possible outcome, only one possible way that a situation might unfold. And yet, how many possible responses are there to an opening line? I speak to you, and you respond. How many people are here today? I speak, and there were all those different reactions, different responses, just in this gathering. And more are possible. Not long after I saw the skit for the first time, I was working as a student chaplain in a hospital. As part of the program, I gathered every day with the other student chaplains to review our experiences. Together, we analyzed our interactions with patients and hospital staff. We considered how we might handle them differently another time. I mean, how often do any of us reconsider our words and think later of what we wish we had said in a certain situation? At the end of the program, I wrote a skit for our group in the style of David Ives' skit. It was about our summer in the program in the hospital. I tried to capture things like the moment we said incredibly stupid things to dying patients, or the moments we held back when what we really wanted to say to an insensitive family member or staff. When you walk into a new hospital room to visit a patient that you've never met before, there are so many ways that moment can unfold. Your heart may be broken, your anger piqued, your funny bone tickled, your soul inspired. So many ways a moment can unfold. I've often thought about writing a little version of that skit for our congregation. I would try to capture the charm of the ways one might greet a guest, the challenges of running a meeting, the number of ways that announcements could go astray, and the way people pull together to make things happen when challenges arise. I thought about it and decided I'd probably get myself in trouble, so I'll leave it as an exercise to each of you. Where in your life is there a moment that might have been filled with more possibilities than met the eye? What possibilities, happy or sad, timid or courageous, silly or deathly serious, lay in wait in that moment? And how did they unfold? And why? So many possibilities contained in any moment, indeed. There are so many ways a moment or a sermon can unfold. When I realized that I wanted to talk to you today about the amazing number of possibilities that reside in each moment, I found myself wondering if I might talk to you about process theology. Process theology is a school of theology with many sub-schools. In seminary, many of us are attracted to it, but then as ministers, we decided it's too complicated to explain, so we rarely talk about it directly once we have left the ivory towers. But for me, David Ives' skit and all that it implies is about process theology. Here is the thumbnail sketch of process theology, which will undoubtedly leave process theologians somewhere rolling in their graves. The universe, and perhaps God if you're a theist, is continually unfolding. We are co-creators of the universe with God. God might be considered more of a verb than a noun, a process, not an entity, a force rather than a being. There is tremendous creativity in every moment, and we, in our free will, help to harness that creative potential and hopefully to create future moments that are also full of creative potential. In process theology, what you do matters. You are helping to direct the unfolding of the universe. What you do matters. But it's not all that matters. You are a co-creator, not the creator. What you do matters. What you do in your free will matters. There are so many ways a moment or a sermon or one's theology can unfold. When I realized I wanted to talk to you today about the amazing number of possibilities that reside in each moment, I realized that this consideration of a moment would be an excellent opportunity to reflect on the concept of consent. In recent years, and especially since the upsurge of the Me Too movement, people have been more aware of the need for consent whenever people interact. Simply put, don't assume what others want, what's okay with them. Ask. We think about it often in terms of sexual interactions, but it plays out in lots of situations, from borrowing someone's book to telling someone else's story to volunteering another person. I can report that the kids are getting it. My middle grade grandchildren have been known to blurt out in the middle of a TV program, somebody there needs to learn a little bit about consent. And we need to be teaching our children about consent early. I think about the way that children are sometimes coaxed or even forced to hug a visiting relative, often who they barely know. Auntie Anna is leaving, give her a hug. We think we're teaching them to be respectful. We are not. We are teaching them that their feelings don't matter. We teach them to be respectful by saying, Auntie Anna is leaving, can you say goodbye? Or would you like to give her a hug? These are important moments. If you find yourself in such a moment, I invite you to remember that you have a choice. If I were Auntie Anna and someone had been commanded to hug me, there are lots of possibilities. I could say, she doesn't need to give me a hug. I'm just so glad we got to visit today. Or, today may not be a hugging day. That's fine. Or perhaps, I wonder if a high five might work better than a hug today. And then to be prepared for, oh, no? Okay, that's okay too. In that moment, we have the opportunity to help form a child who knows that they are respected and who as an adult will respect others. Now let's fast forward to today, to these days, this moment we are in. The challenges of seeing each other after so long apart, especially as we navigate the first stages of togetherness, fitful though they may be. We are intellectually aware that we have different levels of comfort about masks, about distancing, about physical contact, including hugs. And so we adults will need to negotiate consent. I thought about this a lot on my recent trip to visit family. We visited 17 people in 4 states representing 7 households. We were fully vaccinated, and so were all the adults that we were seeing. We got tested before we began our journey. In some places, we wore no masks. When we visited my niece, who works in a preschool, we did wear our masks. During a brief visit to an old friend, we sat outside and didn't hug. I learned to say either before arriving or in person, I'm fully vaxxed and recently tested. I'm okay with a hug. Are you? Or, I've been on the road a while and seeing lots of people. I'm thinking no hugs today, okay? We've all heard people say, I'm a hugger. Maybe we've even said it ourselves. Some of you, yeah. And as I recognize the importance of bodily autonomy for all people, as we recognize that, we may need to change, awkward as it may be. We may need to say, instead of, I'm a hugger, I love hugs and I readily share them with people who want them. Right? So much longer and more awkward. But though many of us are past the stages of dating and have not fully thought through the awkwardness of how consent is managed in today's relationships, we might need to. It would often sound awkward and not spontaneous to us. Yet, the kids are figuring it out. Can we not do the same? Now and honestly into our unfolding future, can we be sure that in all of our interactions we show respect for one another by listening for and asking for consent? There are so many ways a moment or a sermon or a relationship can evolve. When I realized that I wanted to talk to you today about the amazing number of possibilities that reside in each moment, I found I wanted to encourage you to a deeper appreciation of that rich potential mentioned throughout the ages and the power of your choices to realize that potential. Really, the idea has been expressed in many ways in many traditions. In the Torah, God says, I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse, therefore choose life. Jesuit priest Teilhard de Chardin wrote, our duty as men and women is to proceed as if limits to our ability did not exist. We are collaborators in creation. And Japanese Zen teacher Shunryu Suzuki said, in the beginner's mind, there are many possibilities, but in the expert's, there are few. By which I understand him to mean, watch out for thinking you know all the answers. Keep your mind open to new ways of understanding. In our own spiritual tradition, Universalist Clara Barton wrote, I have an almost complete disregard of precedent and a faith in the possibility of something better. It irritates me to be told how things have always been done. I defy the tyranny of precedent. I go for anything new that might improve the past. And transcendentalist Emily Dickinson, who hung out with the early Unitarians on this continent, said it concisely: dwell in possibility. Seeing the possibilities contained in every moment and thus in every encounter, we could become overwhelmed. We don't know what will happen. We could become fearful. Surely the possibility that something bad will happen exists. You ask if the seat is taken, the answer might be yes. You ask if you can sit down, the answer might be no. These things are true, by which I mean they are possible. And yet, so much else is possible too. This is why we need faith and hope and love. Faith that whatever happens in this moment, we can move on to the next. Hope that new and life-giving possibilities are ever emerging in the world. Love that holds our hearts open to the possibilities of this life. There are so many ways the universe can unfold. When I realized that I wanted to talk to you today about the amazing number of possibilities that arise in each moment, I realized that we are all living in an extended moment, a time when the old normal is gone and the new normal has not yet revealed itself. We are called to live in what I have come to call the current normal. Each day when we wake up, some things are open and some are closed. Some events are happening and others are canceled and others have moved online. Some places we go, we wear a mask and distance and stay outside, and sometimes not all of that is necessary. This is our current normal. An extended, sometimes surreal moment that is unfolding in ways we can't yet know. This collective moment is made up of many smaller, often personal moments, each of which is filled with possibilities, chock full of potential. What are we to do with this bounty? May we be brave. May we keep our hearts and our minds open. Let us cultivate a sense of wonder at all the potential we have to respond in life-giving, creativity-enhancing ways to each challenge and to each moment. There are so many ways a moment can unfold. So many ways our lives can unfold. In the end, all I wanted to say is captured in those simple words by Emily Dickinson: dwell in possibility. May it be so. Our Share the Plate partner for this morning is the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay. With a mission to ensure that no one in our community has to face crisis alone, the Crisis Center's vision is to be that extraordinary place where all people find help, hope, and healing to make a better tomorrow. This is the last month to donate to the Crisis Center as part of Share the Plate. Beginning next month and continuing through December, Tampa Bay Harvest will be the designated partner. For today, for the Crisis Center of Tampa Bay, donations of all sizes are welcome. Since we are gathering online, we invite you to donate online. The address is crisiscenter.com. As you consider your donation, let me tell you a little about what the Crisis Center does. They are available 24 hours a day, 365 days a year as the community's gateway to help. People who are struggling with a variety of crisis situations can connect to hope and healing. This includes those dealing with sexual assault or abuse, domestic violence, financial distress, substance abuse, medical emergencies, suicidal thoughts, and other emotional or situational problems. The Crisis Center ensures that no one in our community has to face crisis alone. In a person's moment of need, they can call 211 to talk to someone when there seems to be no one else. The center provides more services than we can list today. In the future, We will be organizing volunteer days at the Crisis Center to provide hands-on service in the community. There are many different ways to volunteer listed on the website. Meanwhile, check out their website for all the ways this exceptional organization helps the people of Hillsborough County. Again, their website for donations and more information is crisiscenter.com. Please be as generous as you are able.